Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. My previous video was about the WhatsApp messages between all the senior people in the NHS and the government in Scotland over the COVID pandemic and how that they're desperately trying to get that released. Well, the families are desperately trying to get it released. The Scottish government is desperately trying to keep it covered up because they know how damaging it could be. In that video, I alluded to this story. And I said that Rishi Sunak is also trying to fight to have the WhatsApp messages sort of basically taken out of control. You know, he doesn't want them released. He wants them covered up. He wants them hidden, and he wants it blocked. But his case isn't that the government did anything wrong through COVID. His is much more personal. Now, he is taking this to court. He's already been advised he's unlikely to win, and yet he's still taking it to court and spending tens, if not hundreds of thousands of pounds of public money. But not because it's in the public interest, but purely because it's in Rishi Sunak's interest, because those messages show of the plot that he was involved in to topple Boris. And he knows if that comes out, he loses the party like that. He will be done. Even if he doesn't get them released, even if he wins his case, everyone knows he fought it because of his plot to take Boris out. He's finished either way, win or lose. The only difference is, will he waste hundreds of thousands of pounds of taxpayers' money to do it? The man needs to resign immediately if that is the case. Let's have a look at this story and see what the implications truly are for him. And it isn't looking good. So Rishi Sunak is blocking the release of texts to the COVID inquiry because they reveal his plot to topple Boris. Boris supporters suggested texts could show the lockdown breaches by Mr. Sunak. So he's doing this because he knows that if this comes out, he's done. So he needs to block it. But he's going to waste hundreds of thousands of pounds in legal fees trying to block it. So amid escalating tensions between Mr. Johnson and Mr. Sunak, the Boris supporters also suggested that Number 10 might be keen to suppress the messages because they contain evidence of lockdown breaches by Mr. Sunak or his advisors, which could lead to fresh Partygate controversy. Now, given that the last one brought down Boris, Sunak knows full well if this comes out, he also would have to resign as a matter of principle because he was the one leading the charge and dropping Boris in it for breaking the rules the first time. The level of hypocrisy would be so great he would have to immediately resign, and that would put a chance for Boris to get back in. Last night, a Sunak loyalist described claims as being total nonsense. Oh, if they're total nonsense, you've got no problem at all. Just release the messages, and that way everyone can see that they're total nonsense. What's that? Still going to court to block it? Dearie me, I believe the word total nonsense is total nonsense. The row comes after the Cabinet Office launched a legal challenge to the inquiry's demand for text from Mr. Johnson and his officials on the grounds that many of the messages were irrelevant to the investigation. Well, blow me. That's not an excuse. Let us judge if they're relevant or not. This prompted Mr. Johnson to say he would himself hand unredacted WhatsApp messages dating back to 2021 to the inquiry, telling his chair, Baroness Hallett, that he was perfectly content to release the messages directly. Mr. Johnson allies also say that Number 10 should call off the dogs by stopping briefings against him or risk a psychodrama which would hand the election to Starmer on a plate. It's already too late for that. I think it's done. I think the Tory party have imploded because of all the infighting. The only person they had that could possibly have held it together and won the election was Boris Johnson. That red wall in the north, they didn't vote for the Tories. They voted for Boris. Doing what they've done to Boris means that they have lost that and it isn't coming back. Baroness Hallett had ordered the government to share all the unredacted WhatsApp messages between the former PM and 40 ministers and advisors between the 1st of January 2020 and the 24th of February 2022. The Cabinet Office, however, said it was seeking a judicial review of the demand because there were important issues of principle at stake, forcing a legal showdown between the government and the public inquiry it set up. So basically, the government sets up this inquiry, says, no, your mandate is to investigate everything. The inquiry want to investigate everything, and the government went, oh no, not that. Everything but that. We don't want that coming out because it's embarrassing. Dubbing a cabinet office the cover-up office, a Whitehall source told the Mail on Sunday, Boris's willingness to give the inquiry access to his material shows he has nothing to hide. Well, of course he doesn't, because he's already being punished for what he's done. He's got no other punishments coming. Yes, he's done it and he's gone. Bang. But the others that are still in power, well, sphincter moments. Anyway, the government has taken a judge to court to keep other ministers' messages secret. Why? What is Team Sunak trying to hide? The cover-up office is a shambles, and it's only a matter of time before heads roll. And Sunaks needs to be the first to go. Mr. Johnson said he would also send the messages predating April 21, which are held on a phone that has been disabled over security concerns. He had not done so, he added, only because he'd been warned not to turn the device back on. According to a Tory source, Boris is perfectly happy to provide those messages if the security people do it for him. One Johnson ally said, what is Rishi hiding? Is it plotting against Boris with Dominic Cummings, the former number 10 aide who left Downing Street? Is it because he himself broke lockdown rules? Or does he fear that his Eat Out to Help Out scheme led to a significant number of deaths? As Chancellor, Mr. Sunak helped the hospitality industry recover from the impact of COVID by offering half-price meals to diners. The ally added, this inquiry is going to be bad news for the government. Both Rishi and Boris will give evidence in the autumn, and it will be a gift to Labour. We expect them to set up a war room and use it to beat up Sunak every day. But the Sunak loyalists said, this is just total nonsense from the Boris camp. How can it be total nonsense if you are fighting to keep it hidden? If it was nonsense, it would be released straight away. You go, we've got nothing to hide, there's nothing here, there's nothing on this that we need to worry about. And you'd release it. But you're not doing that, and we know why. A number 10 source stated, the government has suggested compromises to ensure relevant information is handed over, not personal or unambiguously irrelevant information. This is hiding. If it isn't open fully, if it isn't a full release, then they're hiding something, and you have to ask, what are they hiding and why are they hiding it? It's because it's personally embarrassing to Rishi Sunak, and because it could lead to charges that could end up in court. If they knowingly did things and they were told that what they were doing was wrong, but they needed to push ahead with it for political reasons, and people died, heads will roll. And I mean going straight to jail. This is utterly shambolic, and if they have nothing to hide, they've got to release. All this, let's cover it up, let's hide this. It stinks to high heaven. Anyway, they said it's not about protecting anyone. It really is. It is about working with the inquiry while protecting the principle that an independent inquiry cannot have carte blanche over the messages of ministers. Yes, it can. No minister should be using WhatsApp if they aren't going through official channels. Why? Any minister that isn't using an official channel must be covering it up. They should make WhatsApps, I've said it in the previous video, they should make using WhatsApps illegal. Why are ministers using WhatsApp and not the official channels? It's because they know that what they're saying is so damaging. It's probably going to end up in court cases, and they know that it's possible jail time because of what they're doing and what they're saying. And that is why they are trying desperately to ban this from coming out. They, like the ones in Scotland, don't want to go to jail. Anyway, I shall round up and come up. When he goes to court, and he will lose, he will be forced to release all these things, unredacted, unhidden. And I think at that moment, he'll probably tender his resignation, because he knows that once this comes out, once the truth comes out, that he's done A, B, C and D, that he's plotted against Boris, he's said this to someone, they knew about something else. All these things will come out. His position will be instantly untenable. And that's okay, because he can take his green card and sod off to America, because he's now, a wonderful American citizen with his green card. And his wife, who's a non-dominant billionaire, never pays tax in this country. A pair of them can sod off and they won't be missed. And take a few others with them. Will it mean that Boris gets back in? It's possible, because the Tories don't have anyone else. They really don't. Like I said, the only reason the Red Wall in the North voted was simply because of the charm, if you like, of Boris. And Boris is not a good man. I mean, he's a liar. He's a hypocrite. He's a serial adulterer. He's got more children than the old woman who lived in a shoe. And he's still the only one the Tories have got that could possibly lead the party to an election victory. It goes to show what a dire set these people really are when Boris is your only hope. Bad and sad, isn't it? But there we go, that's what it is. But I think Rishi Sunak is in deep trouble, because if he doesn't release it, people will question it, and if he does, he's finished. So either way, he's finished. Well done. And I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you're seeing here on the channel, please hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video, and definitely leave a like. That one really helps. Until next time, stay safe, stay well. Do not ever believe a word these lying sods ever say, because they are all forked-tongued, two-faced tosspots. And goodbye.